let's take a look at a chart that I recently saw. It's from Fox Business. Benny Johnson posted it to his Twitter. Let's see how big I can make this on the screen. I want to make sure that everybody can see this picture right here. There we go. It's pretty big there. So you guys can see on the screen here. Oop, I got it out. All right, so you can see on the screen here, you can see splitting up the United States. This is Bud Light sales plunging across the U.S. And this is from, I believe Benny Johnson posted this on his Twitter about a few days ago. You can see the Midwest, 23 to 24% is how much their sales have dropped. Over in the West Coast and far East Coast, you can see that it's about 14 to 18. In the South, especially in the Southeast, we have 25%. This other area of the Midwest, 25%. The West, 29%. So on a good day, Bud Light lost 20%. It is insane. They have lost so much from this. And in fact, as I talk about them losing all from this, Bud Light sales have plummeted so much. There was an independent consulting firm that came out and try to talk about a little bit about what's going on with Bud Light, what they can do. And this is according to the New York Post. In an article from the New York Post, Bud Light suffered its 5th straight week of worsening sales drops since the Dylan Mulvaney controversy began, stoking doubts about whether the mega brand can recover as a crucial summer beer drinking season begins. I don't know about you guys, but as the weather starts to heat up, I'm in central Illinois. It started getting warmer out there, and I am out here, and I've begun drinking some beer on my evenings to try to cool off from some of that heat. But according to this, nationwide retail sales of Bud Light have dropped 23.6% versus a year ago during the week ended the end of week of May 6th, slightly worse than 23.3% decline for the week ended of April 29th, according to data from Bump Williams Consulting and Nielsen IQ data. Sales of other Anheuser-Busch brands also continued to drop, albeit at a slower rate than the week before. This includes Budweiser, which is down almost 10%, was almost 12% a week earlier. Michelob Ultra down about 3% versus 4.5%. Natural Light down 2.5% versus 5% the previous week. So the drops are starting to slow, but the thing is it's still dropping. While it was 5% 2 weeks ago for Natty Light, it's now 2.5%, accumulating in about 7.5% total. So there's a rival, but while all of these are dropping, rival beer companies are picking up the market share that Anheuser-Busch is shedding. Sales of Pabst Blue Ribbon, which is actually the beer I've been drinking for a long time at the bar, Pabst Blue Ribbon were up 21.6% in the week ending of May 6th, slightly more than 18.9% spike in the previous week. Miller High Life has gained about 10% in sales. That might go down now a little bit because of this whole advertising fiasco. And this is all according to Bump Williams and Nielsen IQ data. The consultant from Bump Williams says that he says, quote, "I think the Bud Light drinker is waiting for a genuine and sincere apology from Anheuser-Busch and a crystal clear communication on exactly what happened and how important the Bud Light drinkers are to the company." And this is what I've been saying, right? I feel like I'm kicking a dead horse here, or beating a dead horse, whatever the expression is. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse in the fact that, all I've said continuously is that for the majority of Bud Light drinkers, a sincere apology and explanation would go a long way. But it seems like we're almost getting to the point of which anything that they do will now be seen as too little too late, because it's been quite a while. An apology could have come 4 or 5 weeks ago, but instead they've continuously hired consultants and tried to figure out things. And so while an apology seems like it would would have solved the problem, and I just see a comment from Andrea in there too, I don't think they will ever apologize. And it is too late, which is exactly what I'm saying. I also agree. I do not think they will apologize, and I think it's too late. But continuing with this, even if an apology was possible, it doesn't seem like that's what they're gearing up for. According to the same New York Post article, last week, the company held a meeting at its United States headquarters in St. Louis with distributors discussing its strategy for dealing with the backlash, the Post learned. Among the new initiatives planned is a temporary redesign of its Budweiser and Bud Light aluminum bottles. According to a distributor who did not want to be identified, Of course, they didn't want to be identified. They don't want to be boycotted too for doing the same thing. Anheuser-Busch will produce bottles with a camouflage print and the images of uh, Folds of Honor program, which provides educational scholarships for children and spouses of fallen or disabled American military service members and first responders, according to the executive. The redesign is part of Anheuser-Busch's efforts to invest heavily in the brand this spring and summer, as the Post reported. The company kicked off the Blitz during the NFL draft at the end of April. At some New York grocery stores this weekend, the company offered customers a free t-shirt with the logo Ultra Mom for anyone who bought Michelob Ultra products. Other likely marketing strategies, experts speculate, include discounting the beer at retail stores and investing heavily in sports marketing and incorporating the U.S. military and country and Western music, farmers, law enforcement, and first responders into their advertising. Okay, so here's my take on all this, period. This is all BS pandering to me now. With no apology, it seems like all Bud Light drinkers are to Anheuser-Busch is just a demographic. It's just a demographic that they can try to pander to with very, very simple ideas. Okay, so other likely marketing strategies experts speculate, like I just said, is heavily introducing this into sports marketing, incorporating the military, country and Western music, farmers, law enforcement, first responders into their advertising. Okay, who does the right, who do conservatives tend to support and respect most? The military, farmers, law enforcement, first responders, and you bet your ass they also support country and Western music. You bet your ass they do. And so all I'm seeing here is they're trying to just take all the things that very, very generally make up a right-leaning conservative demographic and say, we're going to push things to you. We're going to make a can that's designed for you, while totally ignoring the fact that they abandoned that group to try to appeal to the Dylan Mulvaney crowd. What are you thinking, Bud Light? You think people are just going to say, oh man, there's an American flag on the can. I'm just going to go, I can go drink that again because they support America. No, we're not that stupid. They're treating us like we are stupid. They treat us like we are stupid. But we're not. We're not. Miller Lite, we're not. This is what happens. Or they think they can just repatriotize their brand and people will come crawling back. No, this is what happens when you don't recognize or appreciate your target market and consumer. And I understand. I want to be clear. I do understand the idea of wanting to try to get to a new marketing base or like a new consumer base. Like the idea of like, okay, well, you're known like a lot of rednecks like you. Let's try to get you into the city or something like that. I get that idea. But their decision, Bud Light's decision, abandoned and tried to do the expansion at the cost of the people that were loyal, the loyal consumers of Bud Light. They tried to expand at the expense of their purchasing base. The only person I know who have ever totally successfully abandoned their roots for a new brand was Taylor Swift when she sold out for pop music over country music. She was able to do it and become a lot more successful to it. But it's a gamble, and it's one that Bud Light lost.